From my experience, also training teachers, I'm not very convinced that they are fully aware of the mainframe that I think, in my opinion, that they should be, in terms of understanding that they have beautiful small people that one day they could even be the leaders of a country. So the huge responsibility and at the same time the enormous task and beautiful task that they have of creating literally people. And I'm not sure in the class is full with 25 little people how they can be aware of that task that they have. It's not just giving knowledge, they are like creating people, or at least is how I feel it. What do you think about that? Is that just pouring knowledge, or is more about creating human beings from there?
I think that's a great question. I certainly feel that most teachers do know what an important job they have. I think we also have to remember that most education around the world is under-resourced. Teachers are under huge pressure. It seems to me that most governments think that they can, it's a quick way to win votes, is to change something in the education system. And I think we have to do two things. One is to respect teachers as a profession. And I think over the years that professionalism, that respect has been eroded. And I think that teachers and that parents need to be partnershiping much more with teachers. Rather than at the moment, in some instances, it's quite an antagonistic relationship. So I think teachers are under-resourced and they are undervalued, and it's time that we raised their profile and started to value what they have to offer. At the same time, we have to ensure that those teachers have all the skills necessary, and I'd be very clear here, to not tolerate poor quality teaching. It isn't okay to leave a teacher who is underperforming in a classroom, because it isn't just a job where something doesn't get produced as well as it had been last week, or maybe a contract isn't quite as successful as it might have been. This is a whole generation. You are only 6 once. You are only 15 once. You have one opportunity to be with a teacher and have the experiences of a 6-year-old, or one opportunity to have an experience of a 16-year-old. But also as an adult, you may have one opportunity to go back and learn something or re-skill. So we're not just talking about children's experiences. So I think that we have that balance between valuing what they do and ensuring that we throw all the staff development and continuing professional development at teachers to make them the best they can. If they don't want it, please go do another job. In terms of managing a group of 25, really that should be something that your average teacher is pretty good at. There is, never going to be a day in the future where we are teaching one-to-one. So for me, a group of 25 should be relatively easy for people. We play the numbers game. I have a class of, you only have 21. I have 30 in my class. Headlines, average class size 32. Well, sure, it gets more challenging the bigger the group, but the strategies should change in those situations. So the way you work with a group of 12 people or 12 children isn't going to be the same as if you have 25 or 30. So again, the teachers need to have different strategies for learning in different ways. So we can be flexible in ways that maybe schools haven't yet thought about being, where we can have big shows to learn something new with lots of students, maybe hundreds of students, and then we can have small groups maybe where they experiment a little bit. So we need to get more creative about how we teach, but for now it's going to be 25 people in a room with a teacher, and you know, that's quite possible, it's quite doable, as long as we enable the teachers to have those skills, especially those NLP skills, and also the skills and resources to enable them to do all those other things in their job, because teaching doesn't just happen in the classroom. One question I often ask of a teacher is, you know, when are you teaching and when are you not? And for a lot of them, you know, they're talking to a parent, they're chatting to a child on the corridor, they're helping somebody in the library with an activity, they're facilitating the students' peer learning. All of that is the profession of a teacher. So we need to make sure they also have the skills and to be able to manage all of those other jobs, because you have to be an administrator, you have to be a diplomat, you have to be a social worker some of the time. All of those aspects come into the teacher's job.
Being NLP a study of the subjective experience, meaning that every person has a different experience, does this mean that every person needs an individual, unique way of learning, that the teacher has to be specific in every person in a way of learning?
No, absolutely not. And this is a great myth. Two of the initiatives, two of the very important focuses of education at the moment are the differentiation of learning and the individualization of learning, or personalizing of learning. And unfortunately, some teachers have got the idea that this means that you have to do 25 lesson plans and 25 different activities to take account of each child and the way they learn. And this isn't the case. We have the skills and tools in NLP to be able to engage learners through their own map of the world without having to individualize. So for example, when we use generalizations or ambiguities or universal quantifiers, we can allow that student the opportunity to fill in the pieces that work for themselves, to find the connections for themselves. So that's what the ability to individualize and differentiate means. At the same time, there are skills about stretching and challenging, making sure that we extend those students who are capable of moving more swiftly through the curriculum, as well as spending extra energy on the ones that maybe need a little extra help. So no, we have the skill set to be able to teach 25 different individuals in the room at the same time.
Kate, do you think that this world, the governments, the countries, are willing, is this world ready for having a lot more free thinkers, children that can, adults that can manage their emotions and in their own way, they can think by themselves, and therefore they can be flexible and to be owners of their own life? Do you think that is what really governments want?
Well, they better get ready. I'm not sure whether, I wouldn't know whether or not that's what they want or not. But it's certainly, I think, what this world needs. And if I have anything to do with it, and the teachers that have trained with me have anything to do with it, and the NLP trainers who are out there interested and committed to freedom and development of individuals, then that's likely to be what they get.
Thank you very much, Kate.
Thank you, Chabi. It's been a pleasure.